Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Golden Job. This movie tells the story of a major heist planned by a former mercenary. The problem appears because one of them is betrayed by trapping his friend and taking all the loot. What will a former mercenary do with his traitorous friend? Let's find out in Golden Job. Golden Job tells the story of 5 young men who are former mercenaries who are paid to carry out a major robbery. The film begins with a scene showing a group of mercenaries undercover in a meeting hall. Bill, Lion, Crater, Com, and Mouse were the mercenary group. The 5 of them are a group of mercenaries assigned by their superior named Mr. Rice to sneak into a pharmaceutical company seminar that the company's CEO will attend. Their mission this time is to kidnap the CEO of a pharmaceutical company named Mr. Marvin, because he has violated his agreement with Mr. Rice. That night, Bill, Lion, Com, Crater, and Mouse decided to fall Mr. Marvin down to the ground floor by blowing up the stage in the auditorium while he was giving a speech. As soon as the bomb went off, people rushed out, and security lost control, allowing Lion, Mouse, and Bill to sneak into the building to kidnap Mr. Marvin. Meanwhile, Mouse and Com waited in a car while operating another car to deceive the guards. Bill, Crater, and Lion, who had managed to catch Mr. Marvin, were blocked by Mr. Marvin's men. Lion and Crater, who had already walked in, did not realize that Bill and Mr. Marvin had been shot by someone else. Mr. Marvin died from a headshot wound, while Bill was shot in the leg. The 5 of them finally left the place and left Mr. Marvin's corpse behind. Because the mission this time failed, Mr. Rice immediately fired the 5 of them and threw them out of his car. They had to go home together on foot. Bill, Crater, Lion, Mouse, and Com are actually adopted brothers. They were adopted by the same person and came from the same orphanage. The scene changes to 5 years later, when Lion comes to a refugee camp for victims in Africa to visit his girlfriend named Chow. Chow is a doctor who is dedicated to helping treat the children there. Lion regularly comes to the place to bring supplies of medicines for pediatric patients who are there. However, the medicines he had brought had expired and could no longer be used this time. Hearing this, Lion immediately called Bill and asked about the medicines that Bill had sent him. It turned out that Bill did get the medicines at a very low price to buy medicines in larger quantities but with a faster expiration date. Lion invited Bill and the other brothers to meet at a cafe a few days later. They planned to have dinner with their adoptive father, Kim, and their half-sister Lulu. The interaction that night showed their closeness and their great affection for their father. In addition to having dinner, Lion also purposely gathered all of them so that they would help him collect medical supplies for the refugee camp for children in Africa. Bill immediately said they could steal medicines from Mr. Rice, their former boss. Although a little hesitant, they agreed with Bill's idea in the end. The next day, they immediately gathered information and devised a strategy to carry out their plan. Upon further investigation, Bill discovered that Mr. Rice was always sending medicines from the company through self-managed couriers to several companies overseas. So it would be easier to steal medicines from the courier's delivery than to steal medicines from the company's heavily guarded factories. The delivery was usually made in a white van and supervised by a manager. After knowing this, Lion and his friends began to learn the possible routes, delivery duration, and traffic at the time of delivery and their strategy to take over the delivery car. On the day the delivery was made, Mr. Rice ordered his manager, Mr. Cooper, to monitor the van from the helicopter while he monitored the process from a computer. On the other hand, Bill begins to do his duty to block the main road, so the delivery van will switch to take another alternative route that has been determined. When the van entered the tunnel, Mr. Cooper was suspicious because the time the van went through the tunnel was longer than they thought. Upon inspection, it turned out that the van that came out of the tunnel was not a real van. The car was just a gimmick that the Mouse had set up so they could take over the real van. The scene goes back to when the van robbery was carried out when the fake van entered the tunnel. Lulu purposely spreads nails to hold the van in the tunnel until the real van appears. Then, Com came and disguised himself as a car repairman to help repair the tires of the fake van within the time they had set. When the real van entered the tunnel, Kim immediately blocked the road so that other cars could not pass. Meanwhile, Lion and Crater are tasked with making the real bus van driver unconscious with poison gas. As soon as the van driver fainted, they immediately took over the van and replaced the back of the van to resemble a pickup truck. They also transferred the GPS installed in the real van to the fake van, so they wouldn't be suspected. Their action went smoothly, and they were able to steal the van to take it to their headquarters warehouse. After Manager Cooper realized that the company van had been stolen, he immediately contacted Mr. Rice and alerted him. Surprisingly, Manager Cooper was suspicious of Mr. Rice and thought he was the mastermind behind all this. Mr. Rice denied the accusations and promised to find the van. When Lion and his brother arrived at the headquarters warehouse, they immediately opened the van. But sadly, the contents of the van's cargo were not medicines but a huge amount of gold bullion. Bill, who came at the last moment, explained that the gold was sent by the largest agency in the world to finance the political coup that took place in a third world country. It turned out that Bill had known from the start that the van's contents were not medicines but gold. Bill then instigated his other brother that this robbery was worth it and that they could use this gold to buy the medicines they needed, while the rest of the current gold will be divided equally for all of them. But Bill's idea was rejected by his other brothers. While Bill and the other brothers were arguing, Mr. Rice came with his henchmen to retrieve the van. It turned out that Mr. Rice and Bill had conspired to steal the gold from the agency. Using Bill's brother to steal the van from delivery, Mr. Rice would not be suspected by the agency. Mr. Rice then asked Bill to shoot the whole family. Seeing the situation getting out of control, Lion and Com immediately opened fire at Mr. Rice and his henchmen. The shootout between Lion and Crater with Mr. Rice and his henchmen finally ensued. Meanwhile, Mouse and Com protect Lulu and Kim, who have been injured by gunfire in both legs. Lion and Crater caught up with them in different cars. When Mr. Rice's henchmen gave chase, Lion, who was in the last position, decided to make a sacrifice by crashing his car into a police station. As a result of this action, Mr. Rice's henchmen failed to give chase. On the other hand, Mr. Rice suddenly hit Bill and intended to kill him. But things turned around when Bill killed Mr. Rice with a single shot in the chest. After that, Lion, who previously broke into the police station, was sentenced to 2 years in prison. While Lion is in prison, he has to live a very hard life and is often the target of abuse from other inmates or police officers. Meanwhile, Bill lives a life of luxury and wealth. The scene changes to when 2 years later, Lion has now been declared free from prison and can reunite with his other siblings. Com came to pick him up and took him to Crater's place and where Kim lived. During this time, Kim, Lulu, and Mouse live together in a district on the city's outskirts. Mouse and Lulu help each other take care of Kim, who can't walk anymore. At dinner time, an old man named Morimoto came to visit Kim's house. Morimoto is a friend and neighbor of Kim. Lion and the other brothers then met and greeted him. After dinner was over, Lion and the other brothers had a conversation together. During the conversation, Lion said that while in prison, Cooper's manager came to see him and asked him to arrest Bill and hand him over to the agency. Cooper's manager wants Bill to return the gold he had stolen to the agency. Lion and all the other members will be given freedom and protection in exchange. The other brothers accepted the offer because they wanted to know why Bill betrayed them. The four of them then devise a plan to catch Bill. They came to the luxury car show that Bill visited every month. After waiting a while, they saw Bill and a bodyguard enter the showroom. Lion and Crater followed behind while Crater and Mouse watched inside the car. But in fact, it was all just a trap that Bill had prepared. The man they followed was not Bill, but an errand Bill had paid to replace him. Meanwhile, Bill and the rest of his henchmen are at Kim's house and are holding Lulu hostage. A gunfight between Lion and his other brothers with Bill's henchmen is unavoidable. Lion and Crater break out of the building with the car they took from the showroom. They all rush to Kim's house. Elsewhere, Bill tells Kim that Bill will let Lulu go if Kim is willing to persuade Bill's other brother not to bother him anymore. Kim refused the offer because he knew that Bill would never change from his greedy nature. Kim realized that Bill also conspired with Mr. Rice to kill Mr. Marvin 5 years ago. Kim persuades Bill to surrender himself to his other brother. But Bill did not pay attention to what Kim said and instead complained to him because Bill felt Kim always compared Bill with his other siblings. When the situation became chaotic, Morimoto, who came to Kim's place, immediately realized that Kim was in danger. When he was about to take Kim away, all of Bill's henchmen closed the door, and an epic battle finally ensued. Morimoto fights Bill's henchmen with his martial arts abilities one by one. But just as he is about to take his katana, he is shot dead by Bill. After that, Kim was shot dead by Bill's henchmen. Bill, who still loves Kim, was very angry and immediately killed his henchmen. Back to the chase scene between Bill's henchmen with Lion and his brothers. Although Bill's henchmen managed to catch up to their car, they managed to get rid of Bill's henchmen by crashing into the soccer stadium. When they arrived at Kim's house, they saw Kim was dead. They fell limp and could not hold back their tears anymore. Even though Kim was only an adoptive father, they all considered him as their own biological father. A few days after Kim's funeral, Lion and his brother came to see Cooper's manager and intend to cooperate. They get weapons and information about Bill's location. It turned out that Bill had moved to an island called Montenegro, and he built his power in that place. The place was heavily guarded by many heavily armed mercenaries on all sides. On the day of arrest, Crater and Mouse entered the waterway connected to the island's control room. Meanwhile, Lion and Com entered through the main gate using a bulletproof car to attract the attention of all the mercenaries to gather at one point. The epic shootout finally ensued. Lion shot the guards along the bridge one by one and blew up the barriers on the bridge. Mouse and Crater, who managed to sneak into the control room, tried to knock out the guards in the room and take control. When Lion and Com's car was almost at the end of the bridge, Mouse immediately opened the last bridge barrier through the control room. After successfully entering the island, Lion immediately blew up the bridge and the mercenaries who came across the bridge. Bill, who was watching the attack through the monitor, became alert and tightened the security in his room. After Lion, Com, Crater, and Mouse manage to get into Bill's house, they are intercepted by Bill's guards, and the real gunfight takes place again. Bill's guards were successfully paralyzed, making Bill's position even more cornered. Bill immediately went into the bulletproof glass cabinet where he kept his precious gold. Meanwhile, Lion and the other brothers save Lulu. Lion tries to talk to Bill and intends to give him a second chance, but Bill refuses and throws a temper at Lion. Bill felt that what he had done so far was never right in the eyes of his brothers. Lion and the other brothers decide to end their brotherly relationship with Bill. They then left Bill alone. Bill, who did not accept the decision, immediately took his gun and shot at Crater. But unfortunately, the bullet killed Bill because Crater was wearing a bulletproof vest. At that moment, Crater was reminded of Bill's message in the past, which said that if he later went down the wrong path, he wanted Crater to kill him with his own hands. The incident regarding the discovery of gold in Montenegro was revealed to the media, and the agency explained that the gold was the result of an illegal arms trade transaction to finance a political coup. The movie then closes with a scene where Lion returns to the refugee camp in Africa and meets his girlfriend Chow. At the meeting, Chow told Lion that Bill had often sent medicines to their post in the past few years. The moral that can be learned from this movie is that greed will only bring greater suffering.